So Mudahar just released a video just now, this second, as you're watching this, announcing possibly his retirement from content creation on the back of being ousted as a liar. Now, look, he came out and said he didn't give a shit. He did lie and he doesn't care. Eat your ass. That's pretty cool. I thought it was a good response. But that being said, he's probably going through a lot of stress right now. Look, dude, I get it. When you're a creator online, a lot of people don't see this perspective, but the haters are loud. And no matter how good you are at thwarting them or ignoring them, sometimes you're going to lay there at 4 a.m. You're going to look at your ceiling and you're going to realize you got a 12 gauge under your bed. And you're like, you know what? Sometimes it gets to you, man. We're human beings, right? And God, man, a lot of people hate you. And with my experience of, doing YouTube and then jumping into like a sport, the hate amplifies so hard that it's, sometimes it gets to you. And it's just no way you can thwart it. You know what I'm saying? Some people are better than others at it, but Mutahar's been getting a lot of hate recently, a lot of negative attention. And he has released a video with a final response, maybe. Let's see what old Muta got to say about it. Let's see what my boy's saying. What's my boy saying?
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar. And, ladies and gentlemen, I got some late night thoughts. You ever try to fall asleep and insomnia kind of flashbangs you?
I literally was just talking about this.
And you're just completely awake? Well, that's where we're at. Thank God, no sleep paralysis. Now, I wanted to kind of talk about some stuff here. I just wanted to kind of talk with the community, if you will, talk with the people watching. I usually hate these kind of videos because, generally speaking, I should just upload and move on and sort of do my stuff. But, I was watching some older videos of mine, and, to be fair with you, it's sometimes ideal to just kind of course correct a little bit. Now, one thing I want to start off by saying is, people on the internet have burnout. And to an extent, I would say that there is some level of burnout that occurs. And it's not just because, I upload, videos around daily. Something that, I've kind of been doing, and I'm sure some people have noted for the last couple years, is that
if you pay attention to content, especially recently, everybody just became a commentator of events. Shit, I do it as well, And Mudahar probably was looking back, and this is probably sparked by the fact that Asmongold claimed that he might be taking time off, 6 months or something, different, time frames given, because the burnout is so extreme. Because YouTube, to be successful on YouTube, barring some extremely interesting niche creators like PC creators or playthroughs or stuff like that, or music creators, barring any of that, you have to upload daily, multiple times a day usually, and you have to stream, you have to put out shorts, and you have to do all these things, and that stuff the burnout is real. I've slacked off during racing, and I know when I jump back into it full force, I get burnt out really fast. So I can't even imagine how fast these creators get burnt out.
Obviously, the content that I've made is not so much diversified. I was watching videos from 2019, 2020, and some of them were wild. Okay, you got videos as old as Weeaboo's Screamer Cringe, where the Muta laugh meme came out of. And then I was watching videos where apparently I was playing obscure Japanese PS2 games about bomb defusals. And one of the reasons why I'm making this video is my internet just died. I think some drunk asshole ran into a data center and completely destroyed the internet. Okay, I am loading pictures slower than the AOL dial-up days, which, by the way, is dying. So the thing about it is I played, an old PS2 game. I played some Grand Theft Auto, obscure Brazilian trash on the PS2. And I had a pretty good damn time doing it.
I thought about this when I started streaming video games again on my other channel. I just really enjoyed it. But the burnout from my main channel almost makes it not possible to continue doing that. It's like a give and take system, right? It's definitely a give and take system, but it looks like it's time for Mudahar to finally really become an engineer. He'll take the time off to do so.
Now, the thing about YouTube is one of the things that I kind of have noticed that I've done for the last 12, I would say 24 months even, right, is, I've kind of went into this almost late stage capitalist mindset. One of the things is, obviously, I would say that I cover a lot of trending stuff. And in some cases, I definitely have probably fell into the over coverage of internet dramas, things of that nature. And, I'm not going to just say that I wouldn't want to cover something that I'm interested in, because generally if I'm interested in something, I'm going to talk about it, as is what the point of a YouTube channel is. But watching a lot of the older stuff that I did, where I was like, hunting for Bigfoot and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, not even just like the deep web, like the deep web stuff is cool, but I was watching like older haunted gaming, like creepypasta videos and everything too. And it's funny, watching old creepypasta videos, it's like, most of it was just, I would get home, I would sit in front of like the creepypasta wiki, I'd find me something that was absolutely juicy, read through it, do a little analysis, and then just kind of upload it. I wouldn't say that any video that I've uploaded is like a technical masterpiece. It really is just like me putting together something that I find interesting.
He's having nostalgia for his old content, which he misses creating. And I totally understand that.
And uploading it. And I feel like 2019, 2020, 2021 was probably like the best gosh darn era that I've actually enjoyed on the internet.
I agree with that shit. Hell yeah, dude. That was the shit. 2019, 2020 was based. Very based.
I think that was when I was like most diverse. And one of those things is obviously I think I should probably just go back to it. Now, one of the reasons why, like, I make this video is that obviously there's a lot of people that say, I wish you talked about creepypastas. I wish you uploaded this. And generally, whenever I do upload that kind of stuff, the videos tend to absolutely tank in terms of performance. And that's not something that's like super duper shocking to me. It's just par for the course, right? And generally, people love the trending stuff. People like, any internet controversy discussion a lot more than, the traditional standard stuff. That's just how the internet tends to work. And
yeah, and that's the thing is you can almost not get away from it as a creator. Is when you upload something you're passionate about and you put 10 hours into it, not counting the footage that you capture or like you film, and then it's your worst performing video of the entire year. And then you start to scramble and get nervous because what it all boils down to is it's a business. And a lot of people don't have that perspective because obviously, like, a lot of people that are starting out on YouTube, 99% of people on YouTube right now that are starting out or uploading videos are doing stuff they're purely passionate about. And 1% of those people are going to get noticed by the algorithm, and that stuff will blow up. They'll continue to make it, and then the algorithm changes. And the algorithm changed for more trending content for everybody across the board. I uploaded videos about Boogie and Rich Review Tech and was getting 200,000 views per video. My most viewed videos of the last year are Ray Gun, the Olympic breakdancer. They were getting 200,000 views a pop. Why? I don't even know why I made those videos. I thought they were funny. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of changes your whole perspective. And then you get stuck on this hook where you're like, oh, I need to make this stuff all the time or else I'm a failure. I'm a failure. We live or die by numbers, and it's kind of a cruel fate.
That space. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, shifting the shift of all my content to that was ever a good idea. And that's just one of the things where, like, ultimately, I want to kind of ask you guys, what really is it that you guys want to watch from like that 2019, 2020, 2021 era? One of the things that, I kind of have fallen into, and I think most creators can agree with this. I've actually talked to a couple of creators like this. There's a mentality that happens to you when, you make YouTube videos and you kind of run into this like snowball effect where, when one video style does really well, you tend to do more of it because that's really what YouTube, as a platform, algorithmically, systemically actually rewards you for. But that's the problem. You fall into the algorithm rot, and that's just you basically putting yourself into a corner. And that's one of the things that I've never really considered myself in. I've always considered myself to be like, generally somebody that uploads a pretty diverse range of stuff. Back
people like Mudahar, Charlie, and all these people, they generally can make whatever content they want, but they also see the numbers, right? If they put out a video and it gets 100,000 views versus 500,000 views, that's still a drop. Now, 100,000 still looks like a lot to people, but it does affect you negatively algorithmically. And those are dollars. Those are big dollars, man. You know what I'm saying?
Then it was like, you talk about a creepypasta or you play fucking Revenge of the Sunfish or some crazy weird video game. And generally speaking, it's like I was never like the most, I would say, like viewed person, but it was like, everything that I would just kind of post would generally appeal to this, fan base that I would have. And I feel like, in the last like 12, 24 months, I've kind of just alienated myself away from that. And I've been on like old Discord communities and fan communities of mine, just kind of talking to like older fans. And, I've really come to this just realization that, at this point I have to stop jumping into this like YouTube, avalanche of like, algorithm seeking nonsense. Okay. I should just go back to what it is that I've done, regardless of what it does to my channel or whatever going forward. The reality of this is this is not coming from a place of me wanting to go back to an older channel just out of nowhere. A lot of this comes from, just me being upfront with you guys. I don't think I have much more time left in me. And I'm not saying that like I'm dead or something. It's just that for the last like couple of years, I really have just been thinking of retiring. Like I really have just been thinking of like getting out of this and sort of like doing something else with life. And
I think about that a lot, but so the difference in, if I use myself as an example, I can't afford to do that. But Mudahar might be able to, right? He might be able to afford to do that. Now, people like Asmongold, I got to be honest, I don't even see how people like Asmongold keep going, making millions of dollars a month. I would get to like the 100 million mark and I'd be like, all right, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I make a video, I'm out, boys. I'll upload a vlog every once in a while when I'm bored of me on a yacht. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'd do. That's what I would do. But Mudahar might be the guy that can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes life brings in a lot of beautiful things that sort of take you away from the hobbies that you have. And I'll let you interpret what that means. But the idea is that, you know, my life is heading to a place where I'm getting older. I got to be focusing more on things like family or something of that nature. So realistically, I don't really think that I have more than like a year, maybe 2 years of kind of making like, you know, the daily style of videos. That doesn't mean that I'll always like go away. Like I think I'll always just kind of upload here and there. It's just, you know, there's going to be a point where, you know, I just do not post, you know, multiple times a week. You know, it's going to be a point where I'm going to post maybe once a week or maybe once a month. And it's sometimes maybe even less than that, simply because like life takes you in a different sort of spot. But I feel like before that time comes, I kind of do want to just go back to like a 2019, 2020, 2021 era Mudahar. I want to just kind of like upload goofy, what the fuck gaming style videos where I just play the most obscure shit for my channel. You know, one of the things that I really loved watching was like me when I had insomnia. I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help people relive PlayStation 2 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, like Bigfoot hunting. And I did that. And I had probably some of the most fun during that video. Now, the thing is, obviously, going back to that style of content that doesn't, you know, typically rely on trending stuff, obviously, I'm going to just say it right now, going into the future, I don't think I'm going to perform as well, at least like channel metric wise. And one of those things is obviously
that's for sure. And you gotta understand the words here that are being spoken. He's talking about thinking about retiring and slowing down to one upload a week or a month and then getting out of it. Right. So not officially retiring. He's also probably feeling really, really bad about the whole goofy ass engineer thing and, you know, people calling him a liar, and the amount of hate he probably received is probably unfathomable. Even for me, you know what I'm saying? Which is probably what sparked this entire conflict, this entire video. I know if it was me, I'd retire for sure, though. Especially if you find yourself in that rut, you know, the soul crushing rut.
it's completely okay. I know that's like outlandish. Like, you know, a creator should probably think of like constantly upping and upping and upping and upping and upping the numbers until like it reaches an unhealthy degree. And that is what it is. It's just unhealthy. You know, this is not like a capitalist situation where like, you know, if you're pulling in, you know, like a million views one year, you should go to 2 million the next year, and then 4, and then 8, and then, you know, 16, and then 32. Because ultimately at the end of the day, you just fall into this like psychotic like rut where ultimately your content suffers, you suffer, and ultimately I would say everything just suffers at that point.
So YouTube's algorithm is made to wring you out like a wet washcloth. And I'm not saying like it's intentionally made to take advantage of you, but I mean it's kind of how it is. You know, it's definitely, the algorithm is definitely engineered to burn you out until you're just don't want to exist anymore. Right? Because they want the most content possible, the longest content possible, the most frequent uploads possible, the most ad revenue possible that they can skimp off the top. That's what they want. So yeah, these people that are daily uploading like Asmongold, that's what they want. And they will reward you algorithmically for that. But they will also punish you algorithmically for not doing so. Right? I took a few streams off, a few weeks off from uploading throughout last year because I was racing full time. And my channel almost died as a result. It's pretty damn close.
Realistically for me, I want to just kind of go back to, you know, a lot of that, like even before 2020, to be honest, like 2017, 2018, I think that was like a peak era. And I should just go back to playing like a lot of older, like creepypasta games. I should go back to a lot of like deep web stuff, not even just deep web stuff, to be honest. Like deep web stuff is like, I've seen so many goddamn websites at this point that to be real with you, I could not do it almost every week, maybe like every 2 weeks, simply due to the fact that there is just so much of the same hitman, you know, website. But I've generally like gotten a lot of love for like creepypasta stuff recently, and I never thought I'd be saying that. I've really actually fallen back into creepypasta love, and I've been
I drive a lot and I listen to so many creepypastas. But yeah, dude, Art, when you lose your audience because you thought they liked you, that is soul crushing. Because then you realize they never liked you in the first place and they were just lonely and wanted somewhere to go. That's the damn truth, man.
actually on the creepypasta wiki. I've been like reading spooky stories. I've been on the spookier side of like 4chan paranormal again. And I really feel like looking back, some of the videos that I made, the ones that just randomly banged, looking at like weird, creepy 4chan threads, or like, talking about like that one obscure video game creepypasta, or sometimes looking at like that one creepy YouTube channel, or the YouTube ARG, that's just really where I should be focusing my attention and my time into. I feel like I've dipped my toe too much into like the trending, almost like drama content pond, where I've really just suffered in the long run for it, right? Like I think like the last 24 months, I've probably suffered the most in terms of just like the quality of the video that I've been making about it too, right? Like I don't want to say that I've just been like slop tubing it. I've always been like a daily uploader. If you think that my old videos from like 8, 9 years ago were not just slop, you'd be fucking surprised. Okay, playing some dog shit, stupid PS2 game probably falls into that same category if people are being charitable. But
yeah, I know when I play video games on streaming, I love it. Now the issue is if I only did that, it would probably be such a nice thing. But you're not allowed to do that, unfortunately. Now there are some channels that can, but yeah, not mine. Not mine. It's just not lucrative.
at least back then, I feel like I was really carving out like the weird side of the internet that nobody was uploading and just enjoying my time there. One of the things that I want to do is just kind of go back to that. And again, like I said, I hate making these kind of videos, but one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video is to get my thoughts out, to sort of talk a little bit to the community about it. But also, I do want to ask you guys, like, what specifically from that old era do you guys really genuinely want to see? And I don't want to just hear like deep web browsing or something of that nature, right? It's like there's got to be some stuff, from like the haunted gaming era. My neighbor finally fell asleep. The haunted gaming era, or like that just weird side of like the PS2 games that I ended up playing, or just like weird games in general, right? Like I legitimately laughed out loud the other night. I was watching myself playing Sonic, like it was a Sonic Dreams collection. I was watching myself impregnate Sonic on video. I actually fucking laughed at it like an actual hyena. And I feel like, that's just where I want to be at. Even reading the comments from like videos like that, I feel like there was just a genuine amount of good positivity I was putting in there, as opposed to, just yapping about the daily stuff that I have an interest in. Obviously, that's why I upload it. But I really just feel like, at the end of the day, if that's where I'm going at, if that's the route that I'm going down, I should probably stop right now. Because ultimately, I don't want to just be like the daily like news yapper guy. I don't want to be like the daily, Asmongold, Charlie. No disrespect to any of those guys, but that never was me, and I don't think that should be me. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about this. I'm rambling on a bit, but ultimately, I have to do something because insomnia is a bitch. Sleep paralysis is an absolute bitch. But I wanted to talk about this because, again, it's something in my head. I wanted to discuss stuff. And again, I just recorded me playing a goofy PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah, so dude, it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing with everything is you get stuck in a rut. Dude, I've found myself countless nights just staring at the ceiling. And I relate in a small way because I'm a creator. Obviously, I'm not the size of Mudahar at all, but dude, it's pretty soul crushing. And I'm not gonna pretend and tell you that it's a hard job. It's not harder than a physical labor job. It's not harder than a 9-to-5 job. It's the best job in the world you can have, but with everything comes added stress, with everything comes anxiety, and you're always looking to perform. And if there is some kind of accountability on the other side of it that is requiring you to perform, you're going to feel like that way eventually. And that's just how it be sometimes. That's just how it be.